So this, I'm going to be working on, where I have been working on the integration of a few ideas, namely something I've been calling quadratic development, and this paralleling with trialectics in the economy. Brian O'Connell has been working a lot with trialectics in the economy, and so I'm just trying to integrate that with the quadratic developmental theory. And it's almost suggestive within trialectics, in my opinion. The two might have parallels. So, just to briefly recap trialectics, it's a theory that suggests that we move from I, or self-centered perspective, to we, sociocentric, to it, multiplistic, to its, pluralistic, and this heavily parallels Wilber's notions as well as pretty much most developmental theorists. Perhaps most strongly Robert Keegan, the Harvard developmentalist, first person, second person, third person, fourth person, essentially. What I believe this might bring out is the notion that, so how this, you might be more familiar with spiral dynamics, and these four stages equal red, blue, orange, green. So prior to that, in my opinion, you're in sort of emotional, you're in your emotional being, and then above that, you're in, I don't know, something else, higher mind, cognizing with cognition or something like that. In a sense, you can do that at interobjective stages. And I'm still a little confused about that. It's actually 4 or 3, but it's an open question a little bit to me. And that, in a way, parallels my trouble with some trialectics. Is it 4 or 3? I don't know. And I was working with Rodin's vortex math a bit. It almost suggests that maybe it is 3, but it's also maybe 4. It's hard to say. If it's that I'm saying it's coming in couplets of 3. Okay. Anyway, trialectics is a theory of politics. So presently, we in a sense have a trialectical system. There is, in other words, a judicial, a legislative, and a executive branch of government. Part of the reason I think this hasn't been working as well as it ought to have is partly to do with the whole economic structure on its own, the nature of the economics. So we're going to do trialectics first and show how that might be parallels with how that parallels with the economy. So trialectics. So the judicial branch is ensuring people act in a certain way. You don't kill your neighbor. So you set these rules set up to ensure that one doesn't do this. And it's more the enforcement of that, to enforce people's actions, to do one thing and not the other. So that means your impulsiveness is curbed by certain infrastructure, put it that way, and the ideas and so forth that go along with it, to ensure certain activity and not other activity. Primarily that being that you non-harm towards others. The legislative branch being the ones that come up with ideas of law, in a sense. I'm not in criminology or anything, so probably I'm not getting this exactly right, so please do. But more of this part's coming more from Brian O'Connell, because he's studied this stuff more. But it makes a lot of sense, that's what I'm talking about it. And it parallels nicely with other ideas. So the legislative branch being more in that socio-centric domain, and so if properly governed, it's going to be more about empathy, more about morality, more about compassion, if it's properly governed, and governed in sense by the executive branch. The executive branch is the one that institutes the sorts of novelties that are needed at the time. So being objective about the situation and placing that in the required order. Now, it doesn't mean somebody within the legislative branch isn't going to be capable of objectivity. Obviously, you want somebody capable of that there, but it's saying primarily that's what's being dealt with in the legislative. The heart, whereas judicial is the gut, and executive is the mind. So maybe somebody has a very good capability of reasoning, but maybe more heart-centric, want to go to the legislative. Now, obviously, there's deep problems in the governance system, and it's not a full expression of this, and it's primarily the gut. That is to say, the judicial system is maybe what we experience most profoundly in the government. We can do this and we can't do that. That's what we kind of feel. I think, and part of that, moving on to the economy and coming back, is that I believe the economic system itself is based at the gut level. That is to say, the currencies that we're dealing with are, resource-based and primarily I-centric. That is, it's the very nature of the economic structure is to survive. It's us against more than that. It's not even us against them. It's dog eat dog, and it sort of institutes the kind of ruthlessness at the top. Those people at the top of the economic structure are more likely to be ruthless because of that nature. And thusly, because in a sense, those that control the money control the world, the politics follows the money in that way. So you can't really have the holistic governance structure that was really, I believe, understood by the founding fathers of America. They really had sort of an integrative system. They were coming from at least green, probably yellow cognition. So, in this sense, this is trialectics' economic side of it. You have to have three forms of currency. One is primarily resource-based. The next is primarily heart-based. Those that do the most compassionate, noble, moral acts, thinking, interactions get currency in some form. Those that create the most novelty have another form of currency. They're distinguished, and they fulfill different roles. So that, and there's got to be some sort of internet activity in this. And interestingly, going back to the political side of it, democracy is primarily executive. The sort of heart-based politics would be sort of communism, collective, and then socialism, probably more apt, not so much communism, and then fascism is sort of the gut, first person, so I do. And so you're merging the three, because in one of them, there's problems with each of those. The democratic structure has problems because certain individuals just aren't as developed as others. So you need to have representatives, as Mr. Kurt says, to come in and say, okay, these individuals are good at a particular job. Now we can maybe have a democratic vote about it, perhaps. Neuroimaging might be another way to help curb morality. Certain brain patterns light up for those that do a lot of more reasoning. Ergo, EEG scans of individuals maybe could be used to help ensure that the individuals are, well, good moral thinkers. And also, these sort of parallel the brain structures, the reptilian brain stem, the mammalian limbic system, and the neocortex, being sort of I, we, limbic system, it, neocortex. And so, three forms of economy held by three forms of distinguished governance, and then maybe overarched by a commons, where those individuals that are perceived by the population to be the most integrated, or something like this, whatever people believe to be the kind of idea spouters, have a different domain to some extent, but it's not really, it's more just a public forum where they present their mind to help implement novelty in the other levels. Highly internet based, something like this. So that's quadratic development, trialectics, and the economy.